everyone, welcome back to my channel and I hope you're doing well. So today I thought I would do a bit more of an advice style video, and that is going to be about how to deal with anxiety when travelling. As you know, I am in a long distance relationship, so about once a month that does require me to travel about 3 or 4 hours away by train and underground to go and see my boyfriend. Of course, I do suffer with anxiety, and obviously travel and anxiety hand in hand are not the best things, but I'm just gonna talk you through some of the things that I do and that personally help me when I'm about to travel or I am travelling, just to help me get through the experience with less stress as possible. So my first tip when travelling, and not just travelling by train, as you know, last year I did go to Japan, and for me that was the very first time I even stepped foot in an airport, let alone on an aeroplane, and this was a 12-hour flight. So my first flight was a big one, and literally everyone was saying like, wow, you're so brave, and inside I was just like, well, on the outside I was just like, yeah, it's gonna be fine, and inside I was just like dying, like, oh my god, God help me. I have to say I was very scared before I went on my first plane. Obviously I had no idea what it was like, but I just made sure that I was extremely prepared, and I did all my research possible about flying, about what I needed to pack and like carry on, and what I couldn't take, and I just did my research very thoroughly, that way that I didn't have any confusion, and so everything went very smoothly when I was at the airport. And of course I wasn't flying alone, I was with my boyfriend, so that made it 10 times easier, so I did have his support as well. Obviously when I go to travel to see my boyfriend I am alone. It is harder in some aspects, but I have gotten a lot more used to it now, of course, from the first time about 3 years ago. However, it does still bring out a lot of anxiety in me, but these things should help you if you're planning a trip away or if you're simply going somewhere by train anytime soon. My first tip when travelling is, of course, be prepared. Make sure you do your research at wherever you're travelling and everything you need to take, whether if you are going by plane or to a different country, and just make sure you plan out everything very thoroughly. When you do pack, I find it helpful to make a packing list just so I can have everything down on paper, so it's not all cluttered in my head. I find I do that a lot. I have a lot of like muddled thoughts in my head, and it helps a lot just to get them down on paper so you can see clearly everything you need to bring. You can put it in your suitcase, you can tick it off, and that way you don't have to stress about thinking, oh my god, am I going to forget something, like is this in my suitcase or what. Also, you can actually take a picture of your suitcase if you can be bothered. That way, like say if you're on the train and you're like, oh my gosh, did I bring this thing, you can either check your list to see that you ticked it off, or you can just simply look through the photos and you can see that it's in your suitcase and your mind can be put at rest. Another thing that goes in hand with being prepared is, of course, making sure you leave plenty of time for your travel. Whether it be that you're driving to the airport or you are waiting for a train, I always make sure I get to St Pancras a good hour beforehand, or at least an hour and a half beforehand. It may seem excessive, but for somebody with anxiety, trust me, time is your worst enemy, and I am so aware of time, and it's difficult to explain unless you know what I mean, but I'm constantly stressing about the time, not thinking I have enough time, thinking that something obviously is going to go wrong, and I know it's not, and I know I do have plenty of time, but it definitely helps just to make sure you get there within plenty of time. That way you can relax, you can get a coffee. I always like to get lunch and prep beforehand at St Pancras. That way you can take half an hour or so just to breathe and feel a lot less stressed before you get on your train or your plane. And of course, as we all know, airports can be very busy places. When I went to Japan, I actually had a pretty smooth process when going to and from security both times, but obviously you don't know what's going to happen, so it's always just best to be prepared. Another thing that I like to do whenever I'm traveling is just to bring some snacks, whether it be some cereal bars or something. I find like cereal bars, like naked bars or Trek bars, the easiest thing to bring, as one, I am a vegetarian, and two, they're just very easy just to slip into my bag. So obviously I don't want anything big or bulky taking up room in my bag. Obviously if you are travelling by plane, then you have to buy things once you go through security. It's just good just to have a few snacks on hand in case you get hungry, or for some reason things are delayed, That way you don't have to be running on empty all day, and of course you are travelling, so you are going to need a bit more fuel throughout the day just to help keep you going, as travelling can be very, very tiring. The next tip is more for when you are on your plane or on your train, and that is having distractions. I know the actual plane or the train journey can be the hardest bit, as you're just kind of sat on this moving aircraft or train just kind of waiting to get to your destination, and that's when I find thoughts and my anxiety can be at its worst, as obviously it's just me sat in my seat trying to be quiet and not disturb anyone else, and that is when thoughts kind of play in my brain a bit more, and my head seems to come up with these weird random scenarios of what could go wrong, which of course it's going to be fine, but I just like to make sure that I either bring my over-the-ear earphones with me, or if not, just my in-ear earphones, and I will mainly listen to music on trains. I'll often have my 3DS in my backpack or my Vita, so I can easily get them out and just play some games that keep me perfectly distracted for the 1 to 2 hours that I'm on my long distance train for. Or in the past, I've actually brought colouring books. I once bought a really cute cat colouring book from W.H. Smith's, and I ended up having a conversation with the train conductor about them, but they're a really, really good way to keep yourself distracted, and they're really small, and I bought a little flat pack of like colouring pencils that just easily fit in my bag, and that's another really good thing that helps keep me distracted on my train journey. You can also pre-download movies and films and TV episodes, as well as often trains and of course planes don't normally have Wi-Fi. My plane did have Wi-Fi, I had to pay for it, but yeah, planes do sometimes have Wi-Fi, but often they won't, of course, because you're in the sky. But trains will often have Wi-Fi. I do use my own, although the signal is very temperamental. I'd also like to just take that time off just to sort of disconnect from social media and stuff, just so I can really relax, take in the surroundings on the train, and just, you know, help feel totally calm before I get to my destination. The next tip I have is something more if you are finding yourself in a bit of a panic, or you feel like you're going to have an anxiety or panic attack, or it's starting to come on, and that is using breathing exercises. Now for me personally, they don't always work, and they do sometimes, but breathing exercises can definitely be something that can be utilised very well, and they can definitely help in a time of need. So I know I've looked up on YouTube, and my therapist has taught me different breathing exercises, and there's lots of resources online, so it's really worthwhile just before you go just to take the time just to look up a few breathing exercises, or just even screenshot them on your phone, just so if you ever need something quick just to help calm you down, you can just pull them up on your phone and you can just go through them quietly, just sit in a corner and nobody will know, and everything will be okay. My next tip is, if you are traveling on a plane and you need things like boarding passes, or you need maps and lots of kind of like paper documents, I know one thing that can stress me out is thinking, what if I lose this document or that, or if something happens. Always make sure, again, you have screenshots on your phone, even if it means you take pictures of stuff on your phone, or often things will get emailed to you these days, like I know my boarding pass did, and obviously like things like travel insurance. But yes, just make sure you have them screenshot on your phone, that way you've got a copy on your phone in case for some reason you can't access the internet. Also, I highly recommend emailing out a copy to everybody in your party if you are travelling in a group. That way everybody has a copy, so nobody has to stress. Another little thing is, just before the night you travel, it's essential that you get a good night's sleep. I always make sure on the night before I'm travelling to see my boyfriend that I get a good night's sleep, and I go to bed really early anyway. By like 10:30 I'm in bed, but often I'll make sure that I'm in bed maybe half an hour beforehand, just so I can properly wind down, and I know I'll be able to get plenty of sleep, so I'll feel well rested for the day ahead of me. Because there's nothing worse than going to bed super late and then waking up and you feel super tired, and it makes you even more stressed, and you know, everything just kind of snowballs. So yeah, make sure you get enough sleep. And also with getting enough sleep, make sure the night before you have everything packed and everything is kind of like ready to go, just so then obviously in the morning you don't have to be running around your house trying to find everything to pack in your suitcase. This probably seems excessive, but literally 1 or 2 days beforehand I will have my suitcase out, I will make my list I'll put everything in my suitcase, and then the night before I'll just double check everything, and then I can sleep safely and soundly knowing that everything is ready for the morning. And I know some of these things may seem excessive to people who don't have anxiety, but trust me, for those people who do have anxiety, these small things can make the world of difference, and just by taking the time to do these few extra steps, it can really help reduce your anxiety when you travel and reduce the likelihood of having, say, a panic attack or an anxiety attack. And as I said before, I obviously have been making the journey to see my boyfriend for a good few years now, and definitely in the last few years, not just seeing my boyfriend, but I've travelled to numerous places around the country, and it has definitely helped my confidence a lot. I know, like, with each journey, my confidence with travel gets a tiny bit higher. Obviously there are some journeys and sometimes when my anxiety is worse, and you know, that's okay. We have the things and the distractions there if we need them. It's all about just being prepared and just taking every hour as it comes and just knowing that everything is going to be okay. So I really hope you found this helpful. If you did, then please make sure to give it a like and to subscribe before you go. Leave below any other travel tips you may have in the comments below. So I was just editing this video and it seems like my camera decided to cut out, so I don't have like the last sentence that I said. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to give it a like and to subscribe before you go, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys.